Bet Kante, a professional boxer, was at the peak of his career, basking in the glory of fame. But due to youthful recklessness and impulsiveness, he was forced to retire after a serious injury. Kante became a gangster, immersed in the criminal underworld. However, for unknown reasons, he became the target of his own boss. In his final moments, Kante had only one wish: to return to the ring, to live out his burning passion for boxing. The scene shifts to a different location. Hey, Callie, wake up, is this brat dead? The little punk. Leave him be, even if he's dead, it's none of our concern. Let's get out of here. The noisy chatter startled Kante awake. He found himself lying in a pool of blood, his body aching. What's going on? Wasn't I stabbed to death? Callie, who is that? A few days later, at a harsh training camp. Whoever loses will be sent to work in the mines. And if you win, then you'll be allowed to stay and train in boxing. This August, if you don't want to be sent to the mines for hard labor, you better train your hardest. Come on. Now, I'll divide you into pairs, Torres and Meruz, Under and Bizon, Kizo and Damien, Johnny and Saya. The three instructors turned their gaze towards Gali, Solar and Gali. These pairs will compete against each other for the next week. Well, the outcome is pretty obvious, isn't it? Torres sneered. The ones whose names were just called, all tall and muscular, standing next to him, also laughed smugly. On the other side, those with smaller builds couldn't bring themselves to be happy. One of them couldn't help but ask, Captain, are you sending us to our deaths? Kante, now Gali, couldn't help but feel frustrated. He deliberately paired the weak against the strong. I understand his intentions. Toiling away in the dark mines, where accidents lurk and lung cancer is a constant threat, leading to death at any moment. In the 21st century, the working conditions there were incredibly harsh and dangerous. At any cost, being exiled to that living hell must be avoided. Lost in his thoughts, Carrie was suddenly summoned by Nixa. As soon as they left, some people showed resentment and envy. That brat's getting special treatment again, one sneered. He's just the bottom of the barrel. Back to our main character. Nixa led Carrie to the dense forest near the training grounds. His voice was low. I talked to the boss about letting you go. Carrie calmly asked why. You're not a real fighter. With a skinny body like that, go to the mines is suicide. You're dead for sure, Nixa explained to Carrie. Carrie silently agreed with Nixa's words. That's right. With this physique, I'd probably only last a year. I suggested to the boss that he sell you to someone else. I don't need to wait until next week. I'll fight you now. Gali adamantly refused. Nikja was taken aback. Are you serious, Gali? You're usually nothing but a crybaby. Captain, I will definitely become a true boxer. Seeing Gali's determined gaze, Nikja smiled and replied, if you're that determined, I won't say anything more. If you change your mind, come find me. On the way back, thoughts swirled in Gali's mind. Am I really Gali? Of course not. Just recently, I was Park Gangtae, a notorious gangster on Earth. Now, I'm living another life in this kid, Gali's body. This is my chance to return to the boxing ring. But this body, scrawny, weak, underdeveloped, with such pathetic punches, not to mention this kid gets bullied all the time. It's all because of this weak body. How can my second chance be so miserable? Just as Gali was feeling despondent, so Lai and his gang of thugs appeared. Had a chance to win. He was ambushed. In the end, Callie once again was beaten within an inch of his life. I've never liked that damn bastard. The captain even favors you, treats you like an exception, and you dare brag about your dad being a champion? You're nothing but a weak, cowardly punk. Torres stood by watching Callie as Seolin unleashed his fury. Pathetic. That kid's pitiful expression is truly pathetic. Moments later, seeing Callie's trembling limbs as he struggled to get up, Seolin smirked. Oh, usually by now, beaten this badly, you'd be crying and begging for mercy, wouldn't you? But I only have to see your face for one more week. Callie smirked back. That's right, because you're getting shipped off to those mines. Hearing this, Solar's blood boiled. He decided to settle the matter with his fists. A colossal fist, brimming with power. With his small body, how can I possibly? Callie lamented in despair. But suddenly, he saw Solar's fist approaching in slow motion, so slow that he could observe every movement, and easily dodged it. Witnessing this, Torres couldn't hide the astonishment in his eyes. Just now that kid Seeing his first punch fail, Solar unleashed a furious barrage of blows. This time, Callie was certain that what happened before wasn't an illusion. But in reality, he could clearly see the trajectory of each punch. Thanks to this, Callie continuously evaded Solar's attacks, while closing the distance between them, and poured all his strength into the blow, aiming straight for Seola's critical weak point, his stomach, to the astonishment of everyone around. However, against a brute like Seolin, his punch was like a mosquito bite on stainless steel. In the end, he was grabbed by the collar and punched to the ground. A nameless nobody like you shouldn't try to act tough, Seolin yelled, then left with his friends. Taeho paused, looking back at Gari with a knowing glance, before leaving with the others. Now, only Gari remained, sprawled on the ground, covered in bruises. His body ached with pain, yet he wore a bright smile. Why am I just realizing this now? There are so many important factors in boxing. Like weight class, for instance. The seamless coordination between eyes and hands, and above all, lightning-fast reflexes. The sharp observation to notice even a grain of sand falling. And the ability to grasp every movement, no matter how small. And amazing reflexes, too. I still have the advantage in this fight. Exactly. I won't have to set foot in that damn mine. I will win. I will survive. About 25 years ago was the golden age of armored fighters. It was a time when even a lowly soldier was incredibly formidable. Even the kingdom couldn't quell the uprising. Soon after, slaves were freed, and thus, fighters were born. Fierce hand-to-hand combat, taking down opponents with bare fists, brought ultimate excitement to the audience. That's all I know about fighters in this cruel world. From that day on, Callie poured all his energy into training. He had to do everything to survive in this dangerous world. Without strength, there is only destruction. After his endurance run, Callie stood gasping for breath, cursing under his breath. Damn it, back when I smoked. And drank, I was even faster than this. Nixa stood still, his gaze fixed on Callie. That kid always lagged behind, yet now he finished in the middle of the pack. Before, if he were like this, I wouldn't have chased him away. When the world happened to him? Lost in thought, Nixa overheard a conversation between two students. After that brutal beating, what happened to Callie? He must have hit his head or something. He seems really different today. Hit his head where? Nix's question startled the two students, and so the story of Callie and Solene was told. Callie was jumped. Nixa asked with a serious expression. Yeah, I think he got it worse than usual. I thought he was a goner, blood all over his face and nose. Could a near-death experience have changed him? Let's just wait and see. Nixa thought to himself, then ordered the two young men to run 50 more laps. During the afternoon's free training session, Callie observed the other trainees practicing diligently, pushing their physical limits to the maximum. The sight further fueled the fighting spirit within him. Everyone was striving to avoid being relegated to the harsh mines. I have to train harder, Callie told himself. But this kind of training isn't truly effective. How can I defeat an AI with this weak body? I need to target critical weak points. The jaw is a vital area. An attack there directly impacts the brain. I need a single blow to knock out the opponent instantly. I must strike precisely at the jaw. As Callie diligently practiced with a dummy, another trainer approached and asked, "What the hell are you doing?" Callie replied, "I'm training." I know that, the trainer snapped. But why aren't you training like the others in the camp? Callie countered, "How should I be training? That's against training regulations. You're not allowed to do that, you arrogant little punk. We were seasoned fighters before you were even born. How dare you disrespect your elders' teachings?" Gari understood why he was furious. Here, boxing favored the Uli style, similar to heavyweight championship boxing in his old world. He used to train that way often, but in his current condition, he couldn't use that training method. Pick up the log and walk. The other trainer spoke up, "Hold on." Nixa patted the trainer's shoulder and turned to Gari. "You learned that move from your father, didn't you?" Seizing the opportunity, Gari nodded. "Then keep practicing that way in the camp. That's a champion style, worth learning. Keep going." Gari bowed his head and diligently continued training. Cavalon truly was a champion, but he wasn't a boxer. What special training method did he teach Callie? Whatever the method, watching Callie's movements, Nixa couldn't help but be pleased by the decisiveness of each strike. The boy had truly transformed. He now exuded a completely different aura. The training session ended as dusk settled. Exhausted, Callie leaned against an ancient tree to rest, his stomach rumbling loudly. Suddenly, he spotted ripe apples on the branches above. He quickly climbed up, plucked one, and devoured it. Delicious, Callie laughed joyfully. Just then, a clear, feminine voice rang out. Hey you, what are you doing? Looking at the girl's fiery red hair and elegant attire, Callie couldn't help but feel anxious. A noble lady. As Callie fumbled for what to do, the girl spoke again. I don't know how to explain this. Now, climb down and pick one for me. I want to try it too. Callie quickly plucked an apple and climbed down. He hurriedly offered the apple to the girl. Here you are. Good job. But, are you a slave in the training camp? Don't tell me you don't know. This is the private garden of a noble family. Being caught here would be big trouble. I can't let this body get hurt anymore. Callie thought to himself and replied, I really didn't know. Seeing Callie's worried expression, the girl burst into laughter. It seems you don't know who I am either. Huh? My name is Angela August. My father is Baron Gardoff Powers, your master. Now tell me, what's your name, slave? I'm Gali Shoutot. Keeping the original name, as requested. Consider this my way of overlooking this since you got me this apple. But if you're caught here again, I will personally punish you. Now go before someone sees you. Angela waved Callie away. My sincere gratitude, miss. Gari bowed in return and hurried off. He breathed a sigh of relief. That was close. That kid is so small. How can he become a famous slave gladiator? Angela watched the slender figure of the boy retreat, his golden hair shimmering. The name Gari was etched in her memory. In the following days, Gari trained tirelessly. His relentless effort made even his rivals wary. Gari had shed his old skin. He was starting to attract everyone's attention. With that extraordinary effort, today, he managed to land a punch on me. If this continues, it will all be over. With that thought, CEO Ray angrily threw the log on his shoulder to the ground and turned to ask, that curly-haired guy, isn't he the trainer sent here? Why did the master call for them, and where did they go? Wouldn't hurt to scout out our opponents, would it? CEO Lin smirked deviously. I'll show them who's the boss around here. Starting with this loathsome face. I'll crush him beneath my feet. CEO Lin silently advanced towards Gali, his target locked in. He aimed for his head, unleashing a devastating punch. But just as his fist was about to connect, Gali swiftly dutked. He spun around, delivering a sharp uppercut. When Gali's fist was mere inches from Sealin's jaw, he abruptly stopped. A look of surprise washed over Gali's face. Oh my, I'm so sorry. I was so focused. I didn't realize you were standing right there. Are you alright? Seolin, still shaken, stammered, no, I'm fine. Thank goodness. You shouldn't get injured before the match. Gali looked at Seolin intently for a moment, then smiled again and said, well then, I'll continue practicing. A surge of utter contempt welled up inside him. Back when I was in the organization, I saw countless fools just like you. Idiots who relish displaying their power. By trampling on others, making them weak and pathetic, I will crush every single one of them. Torres was training nearby and happened to witness the entire scene. It wasn't a coincidence. Torres pondered for a moment, then approached Solar, patting him lightly on the shoulder. You look a little pale, Solar. Are you worried about something? Worried? What nonsense are you talking about? Struck a nerve by Torres's words, Solar hastily tried to regain his composure. I'm so lucky to have a weak opponent like Callie. It's a blessing from the heavens. Nothing could be better than this. Callie's change is an undeniable truth. Before, he was always whining and bothering us, and I would always put him in his place. However, recently, Torres recalled Callie's resolute and determined gaze. He then spoke up, reminding Zolite, you better be careful and don't let your guard down. Those words startled Zolite so much so that even Torres was paying attention to Callie. Seeing Solar's pale face, Torres burst out laughing and said, Callie is still just Callie. Man, don't worry. Just send him down to the mines, Solar. Solar tried to sound confident as he replied, of course, that's what we have to do. Meanwhile, at G.A. Doll's mansion, preparations for the next round seemed to be going smoothly. G.A. Doll reported to S.A. Yes, they have even started residing at the training facility. There's someone named Torres on the list. Is this the same one you mentioned before? What's he like? Can he balance power and agility? Pretty good. Moreover, he possesses a ferocious fighting style and masterful skills. His eyes are sharp and perceptive, able to recognize and overcome his own limitations. He even has the potential to claim the championship title. Garden said with satisfaction, "I eagerly await his performance." "Ah, Nissan, there's something I need to ask of you. As you can see, the prestige of our training center is declining. We're facing financial difficulties, and we're forced to send half of the slaves to work in the mines due to budget shortages. Therefore, I want to open the doors to the commoners and charge a fee to improve the situation. The commoners must miss the gladiatorial death matches. They'll surely be thrilled with this. Can you give them a spectacular show?" Nissan outwardly feigned joyful agreement, but inwardly held contempt for the Baron. He was his master, yet so incompetent. The main reason is the training center's reputation tanked right from the start due to the bottomless greed of the esteemed Baron Garden Powers. Baron Garden Powers has managed the training center for the past 15 years. For the first 5 years, he succeeded in maintaining the center's operations thanks to his ancestors' legacy, their skilled fighters. But over the next 10 years, he ruthlessly exploited their labor, causing a severe decline in their numbers. The Agus territory is barren with scarce arable land, so he relied on the training center's income to maintain his family's status and reputation. But now, even that income isn't enough. If only he had sent those young fighters to the national boxing tournament 2 years ago. If only he hadn't made that mistake. The training center would have had a chance to recover and restore its reputation. The training center would have had a chance to rise again and regain its reputation. Just as the meeting was about to end, Angela suddenly made a request. "Father, I want to see that match too," she said. "Could you arrange a seat for me?" Gardon chuckled and asked, "Oh, what's this about? Didn't you say you hated it because it was too brutal?" "Sometimes I find brutal things rather entertaining," Angela replied. Nick worriedly advised, "I'm afraid it might be a bit too much for the young lady, sir." "My lady? Too much just means fun, right? You seem quite eager to see this match." Angela just smiled vaguely, thinking to herself, "Actually, I don't really care about these kinds of matches. But I want to see with my own eyes how he will fight. How will he perform?" Finally, the day of the match arrived. The audience in the stands was roaring, cheering for Torres' victory. In the arena, Torres, with a calm expression, muttered, "Easy as pie." Next, he raised his powerful fist to the sky. In the stands, Garden spoke with satisfaction, his voice dripping with pride. "An excellent match, Torres. You've trained him well. Turned him into a champion in just 1 year." Nick Saw bowed his head slightly and respectfully replied, "Yes, sir." At that moment, the referee's booming voice echoed throughout the arena. Next up, the final match, Solene versus Callie. Hearing their names called, both strode confidently into the ring. They appeared before the watchful eyes of the entire crowd. In the stands, Angela suddenly spoke, her voice filled with curiosity. "Everyone's so tall and muscular, but that kid Callie, does he think he could be a fighter with that small frame?" Nixar replied, "For a fighter, physique is a crucial factor, because physique directly influences their strength. However, there are exceptions." As he was speaking, in the arena, Callie and Solar stood ready to fight, facing each other with sharp gazes locked on their opponent. Solar spoke, his voice dripping with challenge. "Callie, why don't you just surrender now? If you stubbornly insist on fighting me, I'm afraid you won't leave here in one piece." Callie retorted, unfazed. "If your fighting skills were as sharp as your tongue, Solar, you would have been champion long ago." Solar's mind raced with calculations. "I anticipated this," he thought to himself, "but I still haven't found any weakness in him. These fists won't do any damage if I just keep attacking his body. I have to hit his jaw. To do that, I need 2 things." Just then, Solar suddenly lunged towards Callie, unleashing a powerful punch. Callie swiftly tilted his head to dodge. "First, I have to make his upper body lean forward," thinking to himself. This small fries like a slippery eel as he dodged Sialhian's relentless barrage of punches. The audience in the stands was getting increasingly frustrated. "Stop running around, you annoying brat. What the hell are you doing, you cowardly cat?" In the ring, after a furious flurry of attacks that yielded no results, Xiaohian was starting to tire. He was panting heavily, cursing himself for letting the taunts get to him, and draining his energy. How the hell does that kid still look? So full of energy? What the hell is going on? Unable to figure it out. Xiaohian felt incredibly frustrated. He charged towards Callie again, attacking and roaring. You little bastard. The reason was simple. Callie just needed to keep Xiaohian attacking him. That was the reason why he had expended almost all of his energy. Faster than him, the one who only knows how to dodge. And second, when he's off guard, land a critical blow to his jaw. Gary thought to himself. Gary seized the opportunity, dodging Xiaohian's lightning-fast punch. Then, quick as a flash, he launched a counterattack straight to his opponent's chin. But just when Gary thought victory was within his grasp, Xiaohian suddenly used one hand to lock his shoulder, not giving him any chance to dodge. His other hand delivered a powerful blow to Gary's side. Gary collapsed to the ground in pain. He clearly heard the sound of his ribs shattering after that fatal blow. This is cheating. Did anyone see him cheat? Gary groaned inwardly, turning his head towards the stands. But he was only met with the excited cheers of the frenzied crowd. That's the way. Crush him. Gary could only hang his head. Blaming himself, he grabbed me with all his fingers, not with his glove. I never expected this to happen. The referee raised his stick towards him and began the countdown. 19, 8, 7. Callie furrowed his brow in thought. What do I do now? The countdown continued relentlessly. 6, 5, get up. My ribs, they're broken. 1 or 2 of them. But this wasn't the time to think about that. Determination ignited within him. Callie gritted his teeth, struggling to push himself up, inch by inch. 4, 3. He finally managed to stand up just before the countdown ended. The referee stepped closer and asked, Can you still continue the match, Callie? Callie answered with his actions. He raised his fists, showing his readiness to fight. Seeing this, the referee immediately resumed the match. You'll regret getting up. Sioline snarled, launching a fist straight at Callie. Callie stared at his opponent, his mind rapidly assessing the situation. My ribs are shattered. I can't move properly. This is bad. Things are really serious now. I have to do something. I have to figure something out. Callie braced for Sioline's punch. It was hurtling towards him mere inches from his face, when he suddenly let out a loud yell. He flinched at the sudden shout. Reflexively, I pulled back my hand. I have to use this moment of confusion to attack, Callie told himself, lowering his center of gravity, pretending to prepare a deadly blow. Seeing this, Sioline roared in anger. You little rat. He immediately threw another punch at him. I have to dodge this. Callie thought. With a calm expression, he leaned to the side. He narrowly avoided Sioline's fist. And then, Sioline's chin was completely exposed, completely unguarded. This is it. This is my chance. With a roar in his heart, Callie didn't hesitate, landing a powerful punch squarely on Soline's jaw. Soline unexpectedly smirked. You think you could take me down with just one hit? As soon as he finished speaking, Soline's eyes went blank, and he collapsed backward. The referee started the countdown, 10, and then declared Callie the winner. The audience erupted in shock. What? No way. This is insane. What the hell is going on? That scrawny young man was the victor in the arena. A small smile crept onto Callie's lips. He raised his fist, thinking to himself, I'm still alive. I won't let this second life be wasted. 1 week later, slave traders raided, and half of the academy's students were taken to the mines. There was only one exception among the lower-ranked students, escaping a grim fate. Callie realized only a dozen or so had survived the brutal training camp. A chilling silence fell over the camp, a palpable sense of dread filling the air. At the opulent Agut's family mansion, Nick Sa, leading the way, informed Callie his shackles would be removed upon their return to the training camp. His hands bound by heavy chains, Callie silently followed. Callie glanced around, thinking to himself, so, this is the famed Agut's family mansion. I've never set foot here before. Nixa inquired about Callie's well-being. I'm fine, instructor, Callie replied, respectfully adding, forgive me, but why does the lady wish to see me? Nixa turned to Callie, slowly explaining. It seems you caught her attention with your impressive performance in the recent match. Shortly after, Nixa led Callie to Angela's private chamber. Angela sat gracefully in her chair, delicately holding a teacup, a subtle smile playing on her lips as she looked at Callie. Welcome, little slave. We meet again, she said. Callie bowed his head in greeting, thinking to himself, here we go again. I don't want to be suspected. Angela looked at Nixa and said, would you mind stepping outside for a moment, Nixa? Nixa hesitated slightly, but agreed. I understand. After Nixa left, Angela pointed to an armchair and said to Callie, have a seat. Callie remained standing. I'm fine standing, he replied. I don't like to repeat myself. Callie asked, I heard you requested my presence, miss. Angela tossed Callie an apple. You're a bit impatient. Have some fruit, and then we'll talk. Callie caught the apple and took a large bite. Seeing this, Angela smiled. Then, she said, I called you here because I have a question for you. You know that slaves have no right to defy their masters, don't you? Callie thought to himself, she's hard to read. But outwardly, he respectfully replied, yes, Mississippi. Angela pointed a finger at Callie's arm, her eyes full of curiosity. That was quite the impressive display in the last match. You did well with such a slender arm, she exclaimed admiringly, taking down your opponent with a single blow. My father dismissed it as luck, a random fluke, Angela said skeptically. But surely it wasn't, was it? Hearing that, Callie thought to himself, she's really sharp and perceptive. The punch to Solin was a fluke, he admitted. But, he continued honestly, I did give him a concussion. Angela gasped. A concussion? Yes, Callie explained. If you hit the jaw with your fist, just right. It causes the brain to shake inside the skull, and they temporarily lose control of their muscles. Of course, it only works if you hit hard enough. That was quite the impact. Angela lifted her chin, a pensive look on her face, then asked, you targeted it and attacked, didn't you? Angela suddenly flashed a bright smile. Well done, Callie. I have high expectations for your future progress. Keep winning and become a true fighter. If you win the championship, who knows, you might be granted your freedom. A moment later, Callie and Nixa left the mansion. The shackles on his wrists were removed. Rubbing his wrists, Callie pondered, softly murmuring, a free man. Time passed quietly. During afternoon training at the training camp, Torres was diligently carrying a heavy weight on his shoulders, persistently training for his goal of freedom. I will definitely gain my freedom, he thought to himself. He recalled the words Nixa had spoken to him when he was just 14 years old. You will become strong enough, Torres. Otherwise, I would have left you to live a simple life as a farmer. You possess exceptional physical abilities, along with an unyielding fighting spirit. So give it your all. Become a champion and claim your freedom. He threw the heavy weight on his shoulder to the ground. Torres sat down to rest and muttered about his disgust. Guys like Gary, doing meaningless things with no purpose. But suddenly, he changes, defeats Cola, and survives. It's just unpredictable what will happen in this life. Suddenly, a few people approached him and spoke. Gary seems to be getting a little cocky lately. Don't you think? We should teach him a lesson. Since that weakling Colin has been sent down to the mines. Torres, how about we go and deal with Gary? Hearing the voice, Torres immediately recognized it as G.I. Joe, nicknamed Mantis. He turned around and replied, I'm done. I don't care anymore. Kizo exclaimed in surprise, this is so boring. Thinking about Callie, Torres muttered, if he really wanted to change, he wouldn't be complaining. I'm just annoyed by his previous whining. Not far away, Callie was warming up with some basic stretches. With a bright expression, he said cheerfully, my ribs are completely healed. I've also been training hard during my recovery, and my muscles have gotten much stronger. Just then, Kizo approached and said, hey, Callie, finally decided to show up at the training grounds after all this. Time, huh? Callie glanced at Kizo and muttered, I was wondering when you'd finally crawl out of your hole. Kizo clenched his fists and asked, feeling pretty smug about that easy win, are you? The two guys behind. Hearing that, he smirked, a sarcastic expression on his face. Carrie waved his hand dismissively, sighed, and spoke. It'll be troublesome if someone gets hurt. Kizo let out a savage grin, his voice full of challenge. Don't worry, Carrie. I'll go easy on you. Carrie calmly corrected him. No, it'll be troublesome if you get hurt. Hearing that, Kizo flew into a rage, throwing a straight punch at Carrie. Carrie swiftly backed away, dodging the attack. Kizo charged forward, unleashing a powerful punch with his other hand. Carrie ducked low, avoiding the critical blow, then immediately countered, landing a powerful punch to his opponent's jaw. Inwardly, he thought, "You probably thought that I only won because of luck, right? You guys are way too cocky." Large builds and overwhelming reach. Fighting them is like fighting someone with a spear with your bare hands. Those long-range punches, making it nearly impossible for his opponent to get close. Possessing such a wide attack range was a clear advantage, but Kizo was too slow with every swing, rendering his reach advantage useless, unable to utilize his full potential. Therefore, in Callie's eyes, he was nothing more than a giant punching bag. He relentlessly pressed forward, unleashing a barrage of attacks, giving him no time to rest or recover. Callie thought to himself, "I have to keep him suppressed." Suddenly, a loud shout erupted from behind Callie. "You dare do that?" He quickly glanced back and spotted two of Kizo's comrades charging towards him. Callie was forced to break off his attack on Kizo to evade the surprise assault. All three of them lunged at him simultaneously. "Damn it!" Callie cursed under his breath. He retreated, keeping a safe distance, warily observing the three enemies. Kizo wiped the blood from his nose, glared at Callie, and roared. "Don't get cocky with that lucky punch, Gari." Gari asked suspiciously, "Damn it, are you guys planning to use the human wave tactic?" "Shut up." Kizo roared furiously, lunging forward with a punch towards Gari. Gari quickly blocked the attack, but was suddenly blindsided by Kizo's accomplice. A powerful knee to the back sent him crashing to the ground in pain. Immediately after, they laughed and stomped on Gari. Gari could only curl up, protecting his vital points. He lay there enduring the beating, filled with resentment. He thought to himself, "They're ignoring everyone else, targeting me just because of their stupid pride. But I wasn't any different from them before." Just then, Torres jumped to his feet and said, "I can't just stand here and watch anymore. If you're going to gang up on him, why didn't you all just come at him at once? Otherwise, what's the point of this whole duel charade?" All three of them stopped fighting, turning to look at Torres. Kizo questioned Torres, "Why are you sticking up for Callie?" Torres replied, "I'm not taking sides. I just hate seeing a scumbag like you get beaten by Callie, and then have the nerve to call for backup." Kizo roared in indignation. "I didn't lose. I just slipped up." Torres suggested, "Then have a rematch. I'll be the referee." "Let's go," Callie said as Kizo turned to face Callie and met his cold stare, a look that sent chills down his spine, making him think, "What the hell? Is that really Callie?" With a loud yell to regain his composure, Kizo lunged at Callie. Callie dodged sideways and remarked, "Your punches are as slow as a snail. Unbelievable. You can't even dodge that." He immediately unleashed a flurry of punches to Kizo's stomach and ribs. Kizo cried out in pain. Gritting his teeth, Kizo endured the onslaught. He retaliated with a double punch aimed at Callie, but Callie nimbly dodged every blow. "Too many unnecessary movements. You're just exposing your weaknesses." As he spoke, Callie closed the distance between himself and Kizo, within striking range. He delivered a powerful blow, knocking his opponent down. "Damn it," Kizo cursed under his breath. He then collapsed to the ground, unconscious, witnessing the entire event. Torres stared at Callie in astonishment. He looked like a professional boxer. Well, his father was a champion, so he must have inherited some talent. Callie spoke up. "Torres, what is it?" Torres replied, "Let me tell you something. We have nothing to do with each other." Callie stared at Torres, demanding, "Don't you hate me? Why did you save me?" Torres scoffed, turning to walk away, replying, "Do I need to explain myself to trash like you? Get out of my sight after this." No one dared to bother Callie after that incident. Everyone silently acknowledged Callie is one of the most promising boxing trainees at the Argus Hotel gym. "Don't worry, let the match proceed as planned," the announcer reassured. Hearing this, Nixus said worriedly, "Sir, but..." He rushed to Gadon's room, calling out, "Boss, I advised you to cancel the match. We only have trainees." Gadon slammed his fist on the table, shouting, "How can we tolerate this? Anyway, the other team doesn't have many professional fighters either. We can still win if we give it our all." Vic couldn't sway Gadon's decision. Nika could only sigh, covering her face with her hands. There are only two options. Either we send our most elite members into battle, or we sacrifice one person accepting defeat in this round to prepare for the next. Gadant's voice boomed. Listen to my command. Find the 3 most exceptional individuals and bring them to me. I want to witness Baron Dormont suffer a humiliating defeat. Hearing this, Nika's veins bulged on her forehead. Fury ignited within her. How much further do you intend to destroy the training center before you come to your senses? If a trump card like Tiosu becomes useless, the training center will collapse. But the rage quickly transformed into helplessness. Nika clenched her fists, telling herself, only 3 days remain. I must train the aces and prepare them for any situation. After leaving the mansion, Nika returned to the training camp. Coach Nixa called Kizo, Torres, and Callie aside for a private conversation. He looked at the 3 of them and said, Torres, Kizo, Callie, I've decided to personally train you 3 to prepare for the match against the Dorman training camp in just 3 days. I chose you 3 because in my eyes and the other coaches, you are the most exceptional students. Torres, doubtful, asked the coach, do you think this team can actually win? Remembering Gattle's demeanor when he gave him the order, Nixa sighed and turned away. Your chances of winning are incredibly slim. Hearing that, Kizo was frightened, his face pale as he asked, if we lose, will we die? Nixa turned back to look at him. I guarantee the boss won't let anyone die, because you're all his valuable assets. But your opponents might break your bones if they have malicious intentions. Callie spoke up, so you summoned us here because you believe we have a chance to win, correct? Just then, 3 trainers appeared. Nixa immediately pointed at them and said to Torres, all right, Torres, you will engage in continuous sparring with the other trainers to gain maximum combat experience within 3 days. He then looked at Kizo and commanded, Kizo, you need to find a way to conquer your fear. You need more willpower training. Finally, Nixa looked at Callie and said, as for Callie, if you need any assistance, let me know. I chose you because your recent performance was impressive. So, for now, I don't have any specific training plans for you. Callie stroked his chin, lost in thought for a few seconds, then spoke. In that case, I need a sparring partner. Moments later, Torres took a punch to the face. The trainer who was supervising his sparring session spoke up. Don't hesitate. Your opponents are seasoned warriors, but they're still only human. No matter how strong they are, if they get hit, they'll go down. Even if your legs are shaking, your body is exhausted, you still have to exude dominance, like you're the victor. You have to make your opponent fear you, see you as an immortal god. All right, take a break. We'll continue later. Hearing that, Torres relaxed his body. He was about to find a place to sit down and rest, when he suddenly saw Callie not far away, along with his bizarre training method that made Callie furrow his brows in confusion. What the hell is he doing on the training grounds? Where Callie was training, Van Kyron held a large rock in his hands and asked Callie, are you crazy? You want me to throw this at you? Callie irritably urged, just do it. What are you waiting for? All right, I'm throwing it. I'm not responsible for the consequences. Van Kyron finished speaking and hurled the massive rock in his hands towards Gali. Gali focused intensely, dodging the rocks flying from all directions. They came unexpectedly, part of the training secrets of modern boxing. Even if Gali trained relentlessly, for these 3 days, he couldn't instantly increase his muscle strength, footwork, body movement, so he would train his reflexes, hone his agility. Reflex training is also a common method for boxers. Currently, this was his most potent weapon. After a while, Gali caught a flying rock and said, good, that's enough for today. Moments later, when Gali returned to his quarters, he heard a commotion inside. Damn it, I'll kill them all. Hold Wanky back. You're not the only one who's angry. Let me go. Gali burst through the door and saw Wanky with a furious expression, a dagger clutched in his hand, roaring Dekasuji's name in a fit of rage. I will never forgive you. He turned to Kizo, who was standing beside him, and demanded, what the hell is going on? Kizo stammered, I don't know. Seeing this, Callie sternly questioned, "You really don't know? Tell us straight." The situation is incredibly tense. Kizo gritted his teeth and recounted the whole story. "Those fighters from Dekisuji's training camp just came here. They attacked us savagely, furious about the outcome of the match. But luckily, no one was seriously injured, just a few bruises. So, the trainers couldn't intervene." Kizo finished, hanging his head dejectedly, his voice trailing off. "We're going to lose." Meanwhile, Venki continued to roar Dekisuji's name in frustration. "Bastards! You'll pay for what you've done." Just then, Nixa suddenly burst through the door and yelled, "What in the world are you doing? Have you lost your mind?" Then, he slapped Venki hard across the face and scolded him. "This is what happens when you lose. Have you forgotten that they just beat you? So from now on, strive to become stronger than them." Thanks to Nix's timely intervention, things calmed down. But from that moment on, Callie realized something important. After spending time training and living together, a strong bond had formed between everyone. From now on, this fight was no longer just a show for the people to enjoy, but a fight for the honor of the entire Agus house. This was a battle between two prestigious training camps, 3 days after the match. In the stands of the arena at the Agus estate, the spectators packed the seats, leaving no empty space. About half of them came from were all present to witness this confrontation. In the waiting area, Nixa brought Torres, Kizo, and Callie each a bowl of water and said it was herbal tea. "It will grant you strength, as well as help you relax. If you feel you cannot win, hold up 2 fingers. Better to lose face than to be injured. The order will be Kizo, Torres, Callie. Get ready, Kizo." Hearing this, Kizo was startled, spitting out his tea and exclaiming, "Wait, I'm going first." Nixa pushed him out of his seat and said, "Do your best and come back safe." Callie suddenly called out to Kizo. Kizo turned back to him and asked, What is it? What are you doing?" Callie said, "Don't let the opponent get close to you. Understand?" Kizo angrily shouted, "You idiot! What nonsense are you talking about? I have to get close to hit them." Callie thought helplessly, "Listen to Tao, kid." Moments later, the announcer's voice boomed, introducing the fighter from August training camp, Kizo. The arena erupted in a roar of cheers. "Win it, Kizo. With that height, he's a trainee. August. Kizo was slightly overwhelmed by the crowd's enthusiasm. "Damn it," Kizo muttered, nervously stepping into the ring. The announcer's voice boomed again. "And a warrior with 14 victories. From Doraemon training camp. The fighter Bed." Bed stepped into the ring. He looked at Kizo and sneered. "Hey kid, long limbs don't mean you're strong." Hearing that, Kizo trembled with fear, staring at Bed. Torres spat on the ground in the waiting area, muttering, "It's over. This praying mantis is frozen stiff." Callie was also a bit worried, softly calling out Kizo in the VIP stands. Baron Joe Siup, with a smug look, glanced at Baron Gidul before speaking. With a delighted smirk, he said to Gidul, "He's quite tall, but in the end, he's just a kid, isn't he?" Baron Gidul Powers, with an irritated expression, retorted, "The match hasn't even started yet." Baron Joe Sipp. Inwardly, he cursed, "Damn it, Nixa! Hurry up and put someone in the ring who can actually win." The referee shouted, "Begin." Ben immediately charged, throwing straight punches at Yahello. Yahello awkwardly dodged the relentless attacks. The audience watching the scene showed their dissatisfaction, booing loudly. "Are you even a man? Did we come here just to watch this? Take him down." In the ring, Yahello cursed under his breath. "Damn it. Easy for you to say from up there. How long are you going to keep running?" Ben sneered, raising his fist, aiming straight for Yahello. Inside his head, Yahello thought. Kizo crossed his arms in front of him in a defensive stance, but it was just a distraction by Bed. His real intention was to deliver a punch with his other hand, a direct hit to Kizo's stomach. Foolishly falling for the trap, the despicable villain smirked inwardly. Bed seized the opportunity to land another blow to Kizo's face, sending him crashing to the floor of the arena. Callie gasped in worry. The other two, although silent, had expressions of unease etched on their faces. In the stands, the crowd booed. "Is this what you call boxing? Get up." The referee began the countdown in the ring. Kizo lay on the floor, dazed, his mind foggy. How can I possibly beat him? Should I just give up? But then, Kizo suddenly saw Gadon's furious, reddened face in the VIP stands. The thought of surrendering was immediately dismissed by Kizo. He got back on his feet just before the referee finished the countdown. Kizo thought to himself, if I lose without landing a single blow, I'll definitely be expelled from training camp. On the other side of the ring, Bess saw that Kizo was still standing and scoffed. Oh, you still have the will to fight. Kizo roared angrily. Shut up, I'm a fighter too. He tried to compose himself and recalled Nix's words from their earlier conversation. Nix had asked, Mantis, I heard you lost to Callie. Is that true? Kizo replied, yeah, it's true. Nix had continued, have you ever thought about why you lost? Kizo looked down and answered, no, I haven't thought about it. Nix pointed at Kizo, saying, although I didn't see the fight myself, but I firmly believe that wasn't a match you should have lost. You possess a significant advantage to become a true fighter. You have the ideal height, along with an impressive arm and leg span. It seems you didn't fully utilize those natural gifts. You must have lost your composure and become hasty in the decisive moments. That impatience gave Gali the opportunity to close in and gain the upper hand. If you continue to make the same mistake in the upcoming match, defeat will be inevitable. Always maintain your composure. Don't let fear consume you, and don't give your opponent a chance to approach. Focus on defense, blocking all of your opponent's attacks. Back in the present, Kizo saw Best charging forward with ferocious momentum. He took a deep breath, steadied his breathing, regaining his mental composure, patiently waiting for his opponent to enter his range. Kizo was like a praying mantis stalking its prey. A lightning-fast punch, with absolute precision, landed squarely on Best's face. Witnessing that scene, Gali and his two companions couldn't hide their satisfied smiles. In the ring, Kizo was stunned for a moment, thinking to himself, did I really hit him? But immediately after, astonishment quickly turned into overwhelming joy. He silently cheered within. Yes, I landed a hit. I actually hit him. Pressing his advantage, Kizo relentlessly pummeled his opponent with a flurry of blows. Witnessing this, Callie was secretly impressed. After unleashing the hidden power in his muscles, he's become much faster and more agile. Because of this, his attacks have become far more dangerous. Amazing. His movements are just like a praying mantis hunting its prey. Back in the ring, Best was now at a disadvantage. I'm ready to strike, but he's too tall. The angle to attack is very limited. Even defending is exhausting. If I can land a stronger blow than you, you're finished. Making up his mind, Best seized the opportunity when Kizo left an opening, unleashing a powerful uppercut with all his might. But it was a trap laid by Kizo. As soon as Bed's punch missed, he immediately countered with a direct hit, knocking his opponent out cold. Kizo instinctively glanced towards Nick Sa and received a nod of approval and a satisfied smile. I won. Tears streamed down Kizo's face. He raised a hand to the sky, triumphant amidst the roaring cheers of the crowd. Baron Garden beamed and said, What's this? Our trainee has won again? I must emphasize, trainee, Baron Dormon. Joseph Dormon gripped his glass tightly, gritting his teeth in response. There are still 2 matches left. Baron August. Hearing this, Gardens waved to Van Kyren, standing behind him, relaying the order to Nick Sa. I will not tolerate failure. Whoever loses will be sent to the mineral mines. After hearing the order, Nixa turned to Torres and Callie. Did you two hear that? Although he said he'd send the loser to the hard labor mines, he's definitely just bluffing. We'll convince him later. So if things look bad, surrender immediately. No need, I'll win. Torres retorted firmly and stepped into the arena. His fighting spirit was burning bright. But that Manga guy, Callie anxiously observed Torres' opponent. I think he's on a whole different level than Beto. As soon as he stepped into the arena, Manga started with threats. I'm not like be a seat. Surrender now if you don't want to be crippled. Torres didn't flinch. Cut the crap. Let's fight. Begin. As soon as the referee finished, both immediately launched a fierce attack. Both unleashed thunderous blows, so powerful that hot sauce splattered everywhere. The crowd roared with excitement, the atmosphere reaching fever pitch. How many of my punches have you taken now, huh? Torres asked with an arrogant sneer, hot sauce still dripping from his nostrils. Manga remembered his coach's words. Even on the verge of exhaustion, He had to exude the aura of a winner. As it turned out, Manga had been fooled by Torres's false bravado. Looks like you have faced quite a few professional fighters before, haven't you? But you're still not good enough to beat me. I told you. He started to fight dirty. Instead of using his fists properly, he attacked with his elbow. Torres was caught off guard and took the full brunt of the blow, square in the face. Hey, old man, using your elbow is against the rules. Manga smirked in response. It's all part of the game. Anything can happen in a fight. I assumed you had already mastered these skills. So, you want to confront me this way? At this thought, Torres narrowed his eyes at Manga, his voice challenging. Fine. The two continued their intense standoff, causing doubt to stir within Manga. For 18 years, I've battled in the arena. 18 fighters have fallen before me. Despite failing 7 times to become an A-rank fighter, I still pride myself as a seasoned warrior. But this kid, he's just a trainee. So why is he still standing? He's like a wild bear. Hit him, yes. The crowd roared with excitement at the fiery display between the two fighters. But Callie had other thoughts. Brutal as he is, he's truly strong. A completely different level. But Callie's worries proved to be completely unnecessary. Just a few minutes later, Manga couldn't withstand the youthful fervor and was defeated by Torres. Excellent, Torres. You fought incredibly well that round. The crowd was on the edge of their seats. Nixa clapped Torres on the shoulder as he praised him. Torres remained silent. At this moment, even breathing was difficult for him as his body was completely exhausted. Good job. Callie offered words of encouragement while starting to warm up for his own match. Suddenly, Torres called out to Callie. Our victory depends on you now. Understood. I'll be back after I take care of this. The final fighter from the Doraemon training camp. The fighter with 11 consecutive victories, Boito, and the fighter from Agus, Gully. Seeing Callie's small stature, the audience erupted in gasps. How can that guy possibly win? My kids are bigger than him. But of course, there are always exceptions. Voniran cheered, Go for it, Callie. As soon as she spoke, she realized she had spoken a little too loudly. She quickly covered her mouth with her hand. But Angela overheard and sought out Vani and run to inquire. They were acquaintances of Kalia. Ah, yes, I did help him train for the past few days. He asked me to stand back and throw rocks at him, to practice his dodging reflexes. Throwing rocks? Angela pondered, lost in thought, when she suddenly heard Yozab's mocking laughter. That walking skeleton? Just now, our gladiators were simply caught off guard. This time, it seems like an easy victory for us. Gardon, slightly drunk, scoffed in response. Of course, it would be embarrassing if we didn't win. Angela looked at Kalia, standing in the arena, smiled, and thought to herself, I'm really looking forward to your performance, Kalia. Finally, the battle officially began. I'm sorry, but I can't afford to lose to you. With those words, Burrito lunged at Kalia with lightning speed, forcing Gari to heighten her guard. He was much faster than she anticipated. This is dangerous. He's trying to shut down all my escape routes. If I get cornered, I'm finished. I have to find a way out, no matter what. Gari thought to herself. She instantly released a smokescreen with a preemptive strike on Biontio. Weak, pathetic. Boito scoffed contemptuously. Seeing Boito only defending, the audience began to grow restless. Boos erupted. Fight seriously. Your opponent is just a kid. Are you really the fighter with 11 wins? Use your fists. Hearing the taunts from the stands, Boito began to waver. Don't tell me you're going to let me win. Gali spoke. If not, then prove it with your fists. Gali provoked his opponent, cleverly manipulating the crowd. I don't care what your scheme is, Boito roared, but I will take you down. The decision was made. Boito succumbed to the desires of the frenzied crowd. Gali threw a punch, lunging forward to attack. That's all he needed. Gali continuously dodged Boito's attacks, fighting while observing his opponent's every move. The audience cheered as they witnessed Gali repeatedly escape dangerous blows. The crowd erupted in a cacophony of boos and jeers. As for Burrito, he was stunned by Callie's display. He's really just a trainee? Are his senses that sharp? Baron Doraemon, watching from above, furiously, slammed his fist on the table and roared. You useless Burrito, why can't you land a single blow on him? He's just a scrawny trainee. Angela witnessed his rage, a smug grin spreading across her face. He's not just any ordinary trainee. Show them. The difference between you and the other fighters, Callie. Burrito clenched his fists and charged. Callie narrowed his eyes, focusing intently. He stared at Burrito's arm, thinking. He always leads with a right hook. Callie easily dodged the punch. He seemed to anticipate Burrito's every attack, dodging a vicious left hook coming from Callie's upper right. The memory of his fight with Van Allen suddenly flooded back. He had asked him, "Why do you keep dodging?" Callie, panting, retorted, "So you want me to just stand still and let you flatten me? Look at my scrawny body. If I let them hit me, I'll shatter into pieces." Van Allen said, "That's not what I meant. But ultimately, how can you win if you don't fight back, right?" Callie replied, "Dodging is about waiting for the right moment." Van Allen scratched his head, confused. "What the hell is the right moment?" Callie explained, "Observe your opponent's every move and analyze how they attack." Back in the present, he was focused on observing and dodging Boito's relentless attacks. Callie stared at Boito's feet, thinking, his foot is about to step forward. He predicted he's going to shift his upper body. When he's about to throw a punch, his shoulder, chest, and waist will all move together. There it is, he's going to strike. He braced himself, gathering all his strength and wonder. Can this weak body withstand that blow? Callie suddenly remembered his time as Park Kong-tae. His extensive combat experience and survival instincts told that there was still a chance to win. Relying on his experience, Callie quickly leaned back, dodging the fatal punch. Immediately, he countered with a straight punch to Burrito's face. Burrito staggered, blood gushing from his nose. Callie followed up with another punch, giving his opponent no time to recover. Everyone was astonished, jaws dropping. He actually hit Jim. "Nikase!" exclaimed a second time, his voice full of surprise. Wong Karen silently observed, analyzing each of Callie's moves. He watched Callie standing proudly in the arena and thought to himself, he actually did. Burrito, dazed after the 2 consecutive punches, couldn't believe what had just happened. How could this be? Callie clenched his right fist, tensely praying in his mind, "Don't get up, please don't. I can't use my right hand anymore. Just give up, and we'll figure things out later." Boito slammed his fist into the ground, a furious roar erupting from his throat. He wiped the blood from his nose, a stream of obscenities and curses directed at his opponent pouring from his mouth. Callie, seeing that he still stood after the attack, immediately took a defensive stance, a surprised curse escaping his lips. Boito sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. "You're just a pathetic little rat. I'll grind you into dust." He clenched a fistful of sand, a cruel glint in his eyes. Boito suddenly resorted to dirty tactics, lunging towards Callie. He threw the sand directly into his opponent's eyes, thinking to himself, "No matter how fast you are." Callie squeezed his eyes shut. Boito smirked. "Can't see? You're finished." Angela, watching from the stands, cried out, "That's cheating." Ghost, sitting beside Doryman, calmly replied, "He was careless. Falling down with a handful of sand is asking for trouble." Callie rubbed his eyes, thinking, "I really can get used to this arena fighting style." He slowly opened his eyes, a sharp pain shooting through them. "Damn it, that hurts." Boito quickly seized the opportunity, landing a punch directly into Callie's face. He was sent flying backwards. But, thinking quickly, Callie threw sand in Boito's face. He frantically shielded his eyes, yelling, "You damn bastard." Callie gasped for breath. The fight was incredibly fierce. Boito roared, "You're dead." Callie closed his eyes, trying to remain calm and focused. He visualized Boito charging into attack. Analysis complete. He always starts with a right hook. Callie delivered a straight punch to Boito's head, knocking him out cold. Boito's nose erupted in a spray of blood. He lay unconscious. Callie raised his arms in victory, celebrating his resounding triumph. Angela thought to herself, "I came all this way." She looked at Callie's jubilant face and thought, to witness this moment. Nissan ruffled Callie's hair, praising him and exclaiming, "You little rascal, we actually won." Immediately after the match, Baron Doryman, feeling humiliated, hastily left the territory. Gadon, overjoyed, rewarded them with 3 fat pigs. 2 months later, the harvest season arrived. Golden fields of ripe grain stretched endlessly under the autumn sun. Someone threw a crate of potatoes to the ground with a thud. A curse rang out. "Damn it." Gyro grumbled in frustration. "Bloody hell. Are we farmers or fighters?" Callie set down a crate of potatoes, breathing heavily. "What are you complaining about?" Callie placed a hand on the crate of potatoes and said, "Just think of it as strength training." Callie neatly placed the crate on a shelf. A farmer approached, laughing heartily. "Ha, good work. You should bring some back too." Callie replied politely, "Thank you." The farmer asked, By the way, are you guys planning on going to Duke Wesley's Harvest Festival? Gyro spoke while eating. No, we're still trainees, so we have to wait another year before we can participate. The farmer said regretfully. Really? That's too bad. I long to witness your prowess once more. Callie asked Hiro, why are we at the Harvest Festival? Hiro exclaimed, you're so dense. He explained thoroughly. The main event of the Harvest Festival is the arena tournament. Our master is one of the Duke's close associates. Didn't you know? AWD and Du Jiam will duel under his patronage. Currently, Du Jiam has the upper hand. Callie feigned understanding. Oh, right? Hiro scoffed. Did you hit your head somewhere last time? Callie gazed towards the castle, murmuring, it's been a year. The scene shifted to AWD's mansion, living room. Nixa, with a worried expression, spoke to her master. Please grant us one more year. AWD refused. Gardon, the previous match, wasn't well prepared, but I was lucky to win. Gaunt interrupted Nixa. The Duke has sent a letter. His face was etched with unease. They must have heard about my victory in the recent match. I'd like to give you more time to prepare. But Duke Wesley requests a meeting with all 3 trainees. Garden Powers placed the letter on the table and said, if we refuse the invitation. Nixa thought to himself, Duke Wesley is one of the 5 most powerful dukes in this kingdom. We cannot refuse. He replied, I understand. Garden Powers commanded, we will depart for the Duke's estate with an escort tomorrow. Prepare yourselves. The 3 of them are now official gladiators. Give them their official marks, he instructed. A short time later, the mark of an official gladiator was branded onto Callie's hand. He exclaimed, that still hurts. Callie looked at the mark and thought, but as long as I can fight. The caravan started rolling. Angela's voice echoed in the air. Congratulations on officially becoming a gladiator. Callie looked up at Angela, resting his chin on his hand, and replied, thanks to you, I have the opportunity to stand shoulder to shoulder with the nobles. Callie pointed at himself, a surprised expression on his face. My lady, are you talking about me? Angela affirmed, yes, you. Thank you, Angela, Callie replied, as Angela gazed intently at her. You've changed so much, she exclaimed. Show us the results of your training at the upcoming Harvest Festival. Kizo whispered into Callie's ear. She's a real beauty. Fiery red hair and alluring lips. She exudes breathtaking beauty from afar. Callie thought to himself, yes, she truly is beautiful. Torres issued a warning. Watch your mouth if you don't want to lose your head to the boss. Kizo responded immediately. Come on, what are you so worried about? He said casually. Listen up, Callie. She's actually really into you. Callie exclaimed, ah, I know. A cold, robotic voice boomed, commanding the slaves, silence. As the sky faded into darkness, another voice spoke, halt! We'll rest for a bit and then continue on our way. Hiro scratched himself as he asked, why do we have to take this mountain path anyway? These bugs are driving me crazy. Callie grumbled. How would the AI know the bridge collapsed in the storm? Hiro continued, what if bandits show up? Gardon Powers glanced out the window, then turned to Angela. The sun sets quickly in the mountains. Angela, you should get some sleep. Gardon Powers stepped outside. He spoke to the soldier sitting on horseback. We'll depart at first light. The soldier warned, it's harvest season. The bandits are particularly aggressive. Please be careful. Empty. Gardon Powers replied, isn't that why I'm paying you to deal with bandits? Callie suddenly sensed something was amiss. He gasped. Rustling? From behind the bushes, a group of people suddenly emerged. Callie shouted, something's moving in the bushes. We have to get out of here now. What is Garden Powers babbling about? He's asking where you think you're going. As the slave finished speaking, a sharp arrow flew through the air, piercing the soldier beside. A volley of arrows followed, raining down upon. The soldiers cried out in panic. Ambush! Protect the Baron! Garden Powers screamed in agony. Hey, Nixa, take cover. Get over here. Callie turned to face the hail of arrows. The arrow storm ceased abruptly, and a band of fierce bandits emerged. Callie thought to himself, bandits. There are too many of them. Callie said to Nissan, we're outnumbered. If you unlock these chains, I will fight with you. Kiyo and Torres said in unison, us too. Nissan held the key in his hand. He unlocked the 3 of them and said, just hold off those who attack us. Protecting the Baron and the young lady is our top priority. A bandit raised his sword, roaring, found them. With lightning speed, Callie blocked the sharp blade with his bare hand. He delivered a powerful blow to the bandit, sending him crashing to the ground. Turning to his 2 companions, he ordered, don't just stand there. Let's go. Torres, wrapping chains around his hands, exclaimed, crazy bastard. Kiro, his face grim, said in a firm voice, he's not ordinary. As he ran, Callie thought, I have to find Gadon and Angela. On the other side, soldiers were dragging Gadon Powers away. We have to move faster. Gadon Powers struggled violently. Let me go. Now, Callie glanced towards Gaddle. He was safe. Gadon Powers yelled in desperation. Angela. Angela is still in the carriage. Callie immediately dashed towards the carriage. But another bandit was also rushing there. Damn it, he cursed under his breath. An enemy was approaching. Callie shouted, "Stop right there." The bandit turned, staring intently at Callie. He swung his sword directly at him. Callie was knocked backward. This guy is too strong. The bandit opened the carriage door. Angela's scream pierced the air. Callie recognized the scream as Angela's. The thief had captured her. Angela appeared to be unconscious. Callie shouted Angela's name, his voice filled with work. The thief slung Angela over his shoulder and ran. Witnessing this, Gadon Powers bellowed, "What's going on? What happened? Hurry, save her." Callie chased after the thief, yelling, "I'll be right back." Callie was hot on the thief's heels. He shouted, "Stop, thief! Stop right there! You're cornered." Callie growled. The thief put Angela down and said, "You look like a lowly slave." He raised his sword, grinned wickedly, and offered, "Why not join us?" Callie stretched and replied, "Recruit me? You're pointing a sword at me. Besides, if I followed you, I'd be nothing more than a lowly thief. Nothing but wicked deeds." Hearing that, the thief swung his sword back and yelled, "That settles it." Carrie observed the robber's movements. Lee thought to himself that they were expertly trained maneuvers. "Impossible," he exclaimed. "A SCO duelist?" The robber brandished his sword, replying, "Precisely. I am a duelist with 42 consecutive victories." Carrie quickly assessed the situation. "I can't face him head on. I need another way," he thought to himself. He observed the robber's swordsmanship and wondered, what if? Carrie suddenly backed away, hesitant. Should I run? The robber looked surprised. Seizing the opportunity, Carrie scooped up Angela. "Sorry, mister." He jumped off the cliff with Angela in his arms, yelling, "I don't want to fight." The robber was too stunned to react, only able to watch from the cliff edge as they plunged into the river below. Moments later, Carrie's voice echoed, "Miss! Wake up, miss!" Thank goodness she's still breathing. Angela slowly opened her eyes, regaining consciousness. Carrie was overjoyed. "Are you all right?" They were currently hiding in a dark cave. Callie recounted the entire incident to Angela. "That's exactly what happened." Angela spoke, her voice filled with resentment. "I still vividly remember that one-eyed bastard. He hit me." Kelly scoffed, thinking to herself, "I never thought I'd have to use military camouflage techniques in a place like this." Angela huddled in a corner, shivering as she spoke. "Hey, shouldn't we at least start a fire?" Callie replied, "No, the wood here is too damp. More importantly, the smoke could give us away." Angela trembled from the cold, exclaiming, "Ugh, useless." Watching Angela shiver, Callie thought to himself, "It must be her soaked clothes making her so cold." He then said, "If you keep wearing those clothes, you'll catch a cold. It will be better to take them off." Angela blushed, shouting, "You're telling me to take my clothes off? You shameless pervert." Callie quickly explained, "Please don't misunderstand. I mean, it's better than freezing to death. I'll turn around." The boy turned his back to Angela. She remarked, "You become braver." Callie replied, "Because I have to protect you now. If anything happens to you, Master will kill me." Angela threatened, "Don't look back. If you dare turn your head, I'll kill you." Callie squeezed his eyes shut, quickly responding, "Yes. Yeah." The boy felt a little dizzy. "Ugh, my head is spinning." A moment later, Angela had finished changing her clothes, and Callie was placed on a flat rock in the cave. Callie asked with concern, "Are you feeling warmer now?" Angela shivered, replying, It's not much warmer over here," Callie muttered. His whole body trembled. "I think she's lying, even though I'm freezing to death here." Looking closely, I can see her pale lips and her body trembling from a cold. He spoke up. "There are two ways to increase body temperature, or we have to huddle closer together." Angela, hearing this, replied, "It's okay, I'm fine." Angela watched Golly struggling to do push-ups, a puzzled look on her face. She called out, "Golly." He stopped, stood up, and said, "Please forgive me." Golly sat close beside Angela, causing her to exclaim in surprise, "What are you doing?" Golly turned his face away, embarrassed, and mumbled, "I told you, we need to be closer. They say this is how soldiers fight off the cold during winter battles. Even if you don't like it," he continued, "if anything happens to you, I'll have to die." Angela blushed and remained silent. They sat there side by side. The night slowly passed, and dawn broke. Golly and Angela put their clothes back on and left the cave. "It seems safe now. Can you walk?" he asked Angela. Angela replied, "What? If I can't, are you going to carry me?" Callie thought to himself, she's still putting on a brave face. Suddenly, Angela's stomach rumbled loud. Embarrassed, she stammered, "Oh, I didn't mean to. I haven't eaten anything since last night." Callie suddenly realized something and exclaimed, is that so? He looked at the river in front of them and asked, Miss, would you like some fish? After catching a fish from the river, Callie cleaned and prepared it with his knife. He tasted a piece and then offered it to Angela. She looked hesitant, but when Angela tried it, she found it surprisingly delicious. They continued walking along the riverbank. Callie spoke up. If we go upstream, we might be able to find them. Angela asked worriedly, what if we run into bandits first? Callie replied, let's leave it to fate. Angela grumbled, that's so irresponsible. Callie smiled and replied, I'm always trying my best. Anyway, good luck to you. Angela thought to herself, he's neither a slave nor a normal child. He's like someone who's blind to learning, unable to grasp anything from others. Her gaze shifted to Callie, lost in thought. But strangely, I feel safe around him. Angela's curiosity grew. The more she tried to understand, the more enigmatic he became. Did you say something? Callie suddenly spoke. No, nothing. I was just looking at the road, Angela stammered, her eyes fixed straight ahead. Suddenly, a figure perched atop a pile of soldier corpses caught their eyes. A raspy voice echoed. I was trying to collect 10 coins, and that damn brat. It was the ruthless bandit. His face was filled with murderous intent, his voice a growl. I'll kill you the moment I see you again. The bandit suddenly became alert, as if sensing something. Callie's voice rang out, steady and calm. They'll run into soldiers soon. I'm certain of it. The bandit hurriedly ducked behind a bush. Callie and Angela continued walking, chatting as they walked. That's the third time I've heard that, Callie. The thief inwardly rejoiced. This is a godsend. He spoke up. They say even a fierce tiger will appear if you call for it sincerely. Callie and Angela were both stunned. The thief revealed himself. He gave a sinister smile. It's a pleasure to see you again. Callie immediately stepped in front of Angela, shielding her. The thief scoffed. You think you can fight me when you're unarmed? How laughable. You fool. He continued. I'll finish you off and claim that special prize. The thief looked at Angela, speaking his intentions before his apparent betrayal. Why don't we have a little chat first? Angela's face went pale. Callie clenched his fists, coldly saying, You're dreaming. Who said you could take her? He thought to himself. The chain was swept away by the raging current as I plunged into the river. Defending myself is utterly impossible. The ferocious bandit thrust his sharp blade forward. He sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. Brat, I'll start with you. The bandit swung his sword, but Callie nimbly dodged to the right. Then, in a flash, he darted to the left. The bandit exclaimed in surprise, You're pretty quick, but let's see how long you can evade me, he taunted. The bandit launched a relentless assault, forcing Callie to exert all his energy to dodge the deadly blows. The bandit spun around, unleashing a devastating kick that sent Callie flying. He crashed to the ground, and Angela cried out in alarm. Callie, look out. The sharp tip of the blade was mere inches from his eye. At the last moment, Callie reacted, narrowly avoiding the fatal strike. He sprang to his feet, retreating backward, his mind rapidly assessing the situation. His sword deals massive damage and has a long reach, Callie thought. But I already knew that. I've grasped the pattern of this terrifying destructive power. Callie recalled his battle with Kizo, an opponent with long reach, and now this bandit with a gun and a knife. Callie suddenly charged straight towards him. If I want to win this fight with my bare hands, there's no other way but to bravely charge forward. The bandit roared. Are you offering yourself to me? Angela seemed to realize Callie's intention. No, you're mistaken. The bandit swung his blade down. Callie nimbly dodged behind it. He delivered a powerful blow to the bandit's side. The bandit gritted his teeth in pain. He howled, Damn you. It's time to end this game of cat and mouse. He lunged, his sword aimed directly at Callie. Callie thought, what I need right now. The blade grazed Callie's nose by a hair's breadth. He frowned, realizing what he needed was courage, the courage to face the sharp blade. Callie charged towards the bandit with unwavering determination, a resolve to not back down. The bandit quickly countered. Callie swiftly circled behind him. The bandit realized Callie was aiming for his blind spot. Callie clenched his fist, landing a critical blow to the bandit's jaw. The robber spat out a mouthful of blood. With lightning speed, Callie grabbed his arm. He twisted the bandit's arm behind his back, pressing it against his face, then delivered a devastating elbow to his stomach. After a fierce struggle, Callie gasped for air. I can't move anymore. He collapsed against a nearby tree trunk. The bandit lay sprawled on the ground. He tried to move his fingers. With a hateful glare, he gritted his teeth. You bastard. I will definitely kill you. Angela approached the bandit and picked up his sword. He tried to reach for the sword. In vain, Angela raised the sword high, coldly declaring, You dare insult me. She plunged the sword straight through the bandit's chest. Angela's face was wet with tears of hatred. Killing you 100 times wouldn't be enough revenge. Callie's eyes widened in astonishment. He blurted out, "This lady is quite different from the others, isn't she? I'd like to rest for a bit now." After the confrontation with their leader, I was found by the rescue team and brought to safety. The soldiers found Callie and Angela. Nick applied medicine to Callie's wound and grumbled, "You're lucky. If that cut had been a little higher, you'd be blind." Callie replied, "Doesn't it make me look more ruggedly handsome?" Garden Powers approached Callie and called out to him. He sincerely expressed his gratitude. "Thank you for saving my daughter." Callie was momentarily surprised, thinking to himself, "Thanking a slave?" Then he immediately replied, "It was my duty, sir." Seeing Callie about to stand up, Garden Powers shook his head and said, "Sit down and rest. This is an order, and you deserve it." He looked at the useless soldiers, then growled, "And you have the right to enjoy it too. Those imbeciles don't even understand something that even a slave knows." Augustus Gardens wondered, "Besides that, it's astonishing that you fought and defeated a swordsman. What's your secret?" Callie replied, "Looking weak is a great advantage. They always underestimate me. We successfully rescued Angela from the bandits and gained their trust." In the carriage, Kiro suspiciously asked Callie, "You're lying. How could you possibly beat a swordsman? We get to ride in a carriage." Dusk began to fall. Finally, they arrived at Duke Wesley's territory. Duke Wesley warmly greeted the group. "It's been a while, hasn't it, Baron Augustus Gardens?" Duke Wesley approached Lord Gordon Powers and spoke. "You've had a long journey." Gordon Powers replied, "Thank you, Your Grace." Duke Wesley acknowledged Angela. "Angela has arrived as well. You've become a beautiful young lady, just like your mother." Angela curtsied slightly and replied, "It's an honor that you remember me." Callie recalled Angela giving him the new outfit early. He wondered, "My lady, this is..." Angela explained, "This is one of the servants who is ill, so you'll temporarily replace him." She added, "You're the most suitable. The others all have unpleasant appearances and large builds. They don't look like servants at all." Callie thought to himself, "I have to get used to this." The scene shifted to the lavish banquet table. Everyone was seated. Duke Wesley curiously asked August Gardens, "I hear that you've won all 3 recent boxing matches. I heard rumors that your opponents were just trainees." August Gardens replied without hesitation, "That's in the past. Those trainees are now seasoned fighters." Duke Wesley praised, "Oh, impressive. August Training Camp truly lives up to its reputation." The surrounding crowd buzzed with chatter. Angela sighed in boredom. She whispered to her father and then signaled to Callie with a slight nod. "Callie, come with me." Callie replied, "Yes, Mississippi." A moment later, Angela and Callie left the Duke's mansion, leisurely strolled down the street. She complained, "I thought I was going to suffocate in there." Angela said in frustration, "I didn't want to come here in the first place. Let them talk amongst themselves." Callie spoke up, "You seem unhappy, Mississippi." Angela sighed deeply. "My father is preoccupied with finding me a husband. It's dreadful to be forced into an arranged marriage so young." "Why the rush?" Callie replied, "I don't think I have any experience to offer on this topic." Angela sighed. "Well," suddenly, her eyes landed on a candy shop. In a flash, Angela held 2 candies in her hand and introduced, "This is my candy." Angela offered one to Callie and asked, "Have you ever tried this kind of candy before?" Callie thought to herself, "I haven't tasted anything sweet besides fruit since coming to this world." She tried the candy and felt the sweetness melt in her mouth. Angela smiled and said, "Delicious is..." Callie blushed, thinking, "She's so beautiful, a true beauty." He looked around and realized that if it weren't for her beauty, she wouldn't attract so much attention. That old woman, Callie, seems very wary. She keeps staring at me. The fortune teller approaches Angela. "My beautiful lady, may I offer you a glimpse into your destiny?" Angela inquires, "A glimpse into my destiny?" Callie immediately appears anxious. "We should go, Mississippi." Angela interrupts, "Wait, that sounds rather intriguing. I've never had my fortune told. Let's give it a try." The fortune teller leads them towards his hut. He chuckles as he walks. "Ha ha ha, I'll give you a special discount, my lady." Angela looks around the inside of the hut with amusement.